Hello, beautiful singers. This is Valerie White Williams and Vocal Splendor Studios. And today I would like to talk to you about how to use a neti pot or a nasal pot. Just want to let you know that I have just moved from Seattle and I am still looking to finding a few more internet students. I've been teaching online for several years and I find it so easy and effective. So once you try it, I think you will agree. So if you are interested in private lessons, please send me a mail through YouTube or Facebook or my website. I would love to hear you and work with you. All right, so let's talk about using the neti pot or the nasal pot. Now, not everybody knows what a nasal or neti pot is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my nasal pot. Yes, this is it. You know, it looks like kind of a little doll's teapot. You can buy these now at all kinds of stores. Drugstores have them. It used to be that they were only at health food stores, but it looks like a little teapot. So when I first heard about nasal pots was probably well over 10 years ago, and I thought it was kind of wacky, I admit. I read about it on a singer's opera board, and most opera singers are really conscious about staying healthy because if they get really sick, they lose work or they sound really bad and they get bad reviews. So it's a huge issue for all singers to stay healthy. And so at first I thought, wow, that's really crazy. A lot of singers tend to be hypochondriacs, and I just thought, that's too extreme for me. And since then I've learned to never say never, right? If you don't understand something, don't say you don't like it because I'd never tried it. So I ended up buying this actual pot years ago and I kept it under my sink for years. I was too scared to use it. It seemed really creepy. But then once I got this flu and the sinus headache, I taught myself how to use it. And you know what? Ever since then, it's a wonderful tool that I do use pretty regularly for when I have a cold coming on, or sometimes when I'm traveling and I feel kind of grody or I just have a bunch of gunk up there, I use it. I do not use it every day, but I do use it when I feel that it would be beneficial. So what the nasal part started is actually a yoga purification rite, really. And it was, yoga is more than just doing the exercises. It includes all these other traits and practices that supposedly brings you more in alignment with your higher self or your spirit. That's what yoga means. It means to link into yoke. So the nasal pot rinse was something that was one of the things that you could do. But you don't have to be a yogi or into meditation to get benefits. And so currently now there's been a lot of evidence and people are talking about the benefits of washing things out. So what happens when you wash out all this nasal stuff, it keeps it from dripping down into the throat and getting more gunked up. I have actually kind of washed my cold away sometimes by actually using my neti pot. Usually if I'm really that congested, I might even use it 3 times a day just to kind of blow it out, blow it out, blow it out. And it does really help. And now it doesn't help always. I once got fungal laryngitis or some sort of laryngitis on the airplane. It was viral and I did everything known to man and I still lost my voice. But it does help and it's something that I think it's worth learning and getting to know. So I'm going to talk a bit. I'm not going to do it in front of you, but I'm going to talk about how to use it. So of course, it's a little teapot. And what you want to do is you want to use like when you baby bottle, you want to have bath water. You want it to just be really comfortable, so test it against your wrist to see if it's warm enough. You want it warm enough to kind of cut through, but not so hot that it's going to be uncomfortable and not so cold that it feels cool. You want it to be body temperature. So that's the first step. A lot of people recommend using distilled water. I don't bother with that. I just use tap water myself, but you need to look at your own water supply at your place. And if that's the case, you can just heat it up on the stove to that same temperature. So you want to have that really warm water. It's really key. I fill it up to the top. And then what you want to do is use some sort of salt. Now this is actually the salt that you can buy at the store that is designed for neti pots. It's non-iodized salt. So you do not want to have iodine in the salt. You want something more natural. Personally, I've also used Celtic sea salt and other sorts of sea salt as well, but I got this and so it works pretty well. This is really fine and it dissolves. So what you do is I have all my salt in this little cup. So what I do is I take a 1/4 teaspoon and you just take that into your pot with warm water and stir it up till it dissolves. And that's the easy part. So then after you have your teapot, now this is what you want to do. You want to do this over a sink. So I'm going to pretend that there's a sink right under here, because what you're learning to do, it's almost like going swimming, where you're going to put it in your nose, but you're going to have it come out the side. So this takes practice. When I first did it, it feels like you were in the swimming pool and water goes up to your nose. But it's really about learning to feel the angle of the head and the angle of the pot. So this is kind of how I would do it. So I'm going to lean like this, lean this into my nose, tuck it in, and then lean. And then when it's done right, it's going to go all the way through here, up through the sinuses, and it's going to drip into the sink. And then you can control the flow by the angle of the pot. So it takes a little practice to find the muscle memory of getting the exact flow and the exact head turn. And just let it go until it really is done. And then you can do the same. Now you can use a half a pot for each nostril, or I like to use a whole pot. I just like to, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it all. And then you do the same thing here. So again, you have to learn how to get that head tilt like that. Have it come down into the sink until it's done. And then once you do that side, what you do is you're gonna take a big tissue paper and you're gonna blow your nose. So what it does, it loosens everything out, and then it just comes right out, and you blow your nose and you do that. Sometimes when you're super congested, it's like a big, your head just totally opens up, and it's amazing feeling. So it's super helpful when you're dealing with a lot of congestion, either from allergies or colds or other things. It's hugely helpful. I know it's a super gross ick thing. I was turned off myself, but it is so helpful. As we're going into the winter season here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's a great skill, great thing to have. They don't cost very much, maybe $15 or something like that. So that is the nasal pot, often called Neti Pot. So please, do you guys use a Neti Pot? Has it helped you? Do you have any other tips? I would love to hear about it in the comments. And thanks so much for the likes, subscribes, and shares. I really appreciate you sharing my content, because I want everyone to sing and feel better about singing. So there you go. Have a great day and sing on.